안녕하십니까. 글로벌 모니터 안근모입니다. 유럽중앙은행 ECB가 오는 6월에 금리를 내릴 것이란 신호를 보다 뚜렷하게 시장에 전달했습니다. 성명서에 새로운 문구를 넣었습니다. 업데이트된 분석 결과 인플레이션이 지속적으로 목표를 수렴할 것이라는 자신감이 더 높아진다면 통화정책 제약 수위를 낮추는 게 적절해질 것이다 라고 밝혔습니다. ECB는 3개월에 한 번씩 업데이트한 분석을 내놓습니다. 다음 분석은 6월입니다. 크리스틴 라가르드 ECB 총재는 기자회견에서 몇 명의 위원들은 이미 충분한 자신감을 가졌다고 밝혔습니다. 금리를 당장 내려도 된다는 사람들이 벌써 등장했다는 얘기입니다. 이 대목에서 시장이 제법 강한 반응을 보였습니다. 하지만 6월에 이어 7월에도 금리를 연쇄적으로 내릴 가능성에 대해서는 유보적인 입장입니다. 연준 금리 인하가 마냥 미뤄지고 있고 올해 인하는 물 건너갔다는 진단까지 나오는 마당이라서 ECB 혼자서 금리를 적극적으로 내리기는 어려울 수 있다는 지적이 많습니다. 통화정책의 다이버전스라고 하죠. 미국과 유럽의 정책 기조가 갈라짐에 따라 유로화 가치가 대폭 떨어질 것이란 목소리가 늘고 있습니다. 라가르드 총재는 ECB가 연준에 의존하지는 않는다면서도 미국은 굉장히 큰 시장이고 굉장히 큰 경제며 주요 금융센터이기도 해서 환율뿐만 아니라 다수의 채널로 영향이 미쳐질 수 있다고 말했습니다. 라가르드 총재 기자회견 주요 장면을 함께 보시겠습니다.
If our updated assessment of the inflation outlook, the dynamics of underlying inflation, and the strength of monetary policy transmission were to further increase our confidence that inflation is converging to our target in a sustained manner, it would be appropriate to reduce the current level of monetary policy restriction. In any event, we will continue to follow a data-dependent and meeting-by-meeting approach to determining the appropriate level and duration of restriction, and we are not pre-committing to a particular rate path.
Whether surprisingly hot inflation data out of the US and the reactions it triggered over the past hours or 24 hours or so have changed in any way the way you think about the ECB's policy path going forward? Thank you.
And I have said previously that in April we get some information and some data, and we looked at all that. But in June, we know that we will get a lot more data and a lot more information, and we will also have a new projection, which will incorporate and be informed by all that will be published before projection is completed. You asked whether the US CPI number received yesterday had any bearing and subsequent market development. I have said in the past that we are data dependent. We are not Fed dependent. That was not the Fed, that was CPI numbers. And obviously anything that happens matters to us and will in due course be embedded in the projection that will be prepared and released in June. You know, the United States is a very large market, a very sizable economy, a major financial center as well. So all that finds its way into our projections. Thank you.
If the Fed doesn't cut, we'll probably see that in our exchange rate, the euro exchange rate to the dollar. So how much is that of a concern to you, that the euro exchange rate could actually fall to parity or below, and what does it mean for inflation? Thank you.
First of all, I would not speculate what other central banks are or are not going to do. As I just responded to the previous questions, consequences in terms of impact on price stability, impact on inflation, whether it is imported inflation or otherwise, all that of course needs to be taken into account and is monitored very carefully and finds its way into our projection. So all of that will be included, embedded, monitored and taken into account in our projection. But you know, we don't target exchange rate, we don't comment on exchange rate, and I'm not going to go any further than that. I would simply mention that there are multiple channels through which influence can be exercised. It's not just through exchange rates. I think there are other channels.